You to West Africa now, and Amnesty International says more than 1,000 villagers have been killed in Nigeria this year alone. The rights group says authorities have left rural communities at the mercy of rioting gunmen. It calls the lack of protection shameful. We're joined for more on this by Amnesty International Nigeria Director, Ms. Osai Ojigho. A very good afternoon to you, and thank you very much for joining us. You spoke to a number of civilians in Kaduna, Katsina, Niger, and many others. What did they tell you about the situation that they're facing?
Thank you very much for raising this issue and bringing attention to it. Many of the petitions we've received in the course of the year has been quite disturbing, with people crying for help. Basically, it's an appeal saying that they believe that their government has let them down, has forgotten about them. And it's possible because they are away from the city center, they're in rural communities, and they just seem very desolate about what is going on. What is shocking is that this has continuously happened from the beginning of the year to date. Even as we speak, there are people being attacked in villages. They've not had any sort of peace at all since the year started. And it's quite shocking, really.
There's been security issues in Nigeria, particularly in the north, but we believe that this has got nothing to do with jihadist conflict. What is it about?
So yes, a lot of the conflicts in Nigeria has focused on the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast of the country. But the current update that we shared as Amnesty International focuses on the northwest and north central, so the other parts of the north. And while it's shocking is the scale at which the killings are happening. So while on the one hand, it looks like Nigeria is fighting, is gaining some ground in the war against terror with insurgents, it seems to have lost any sort of coordination or direction with this attack that we're seeing in communities in northwest and north central. What is really scary about this is the fact that these are states that surround the capital, Abuja. And so it means if they're not able to curtail the violence that is escalating in these states, it could potentially pose a big threat to Abuja, the capital of the country itself. There are many reasons why the conflict seems to have exacerbated, but one thing that comes out clear is that it's also about a resource issue. In some of the areas in Northwest, like Zamfara, for example, they've recently discovered gold deposits. So one argument is that the interest in the region is by those who want to illegally mine the mineral resources. So they need to get the communities off their land so that they can mine illegally without anybody noticing or complaining about it. There's also been cattle rustling with a lot of focus on the northeast. Quite a lot of nomadic groups also pass through the northwest. So there's greater attention, and cattle has been lost. People have lost their homes, and even some ethnic conflict that has also arisen as a result of the violence that is escalating in the region. So there are not enough security people on the ground. People are crying for help, and yet the response is very slow from the government.
It would sound as if people have been left to their own peril. How concerned are you? You mentioned a little bit earlier on that there could be an escalation of this situation. How concerned are you about that, and what would it mean for these people?
Well, it just means that their entire community as they know it will disappear, because if there's one thing we've learned from the insurgency in the northeast, is that villages have just disappeared from the map because their buildings were burnt, families are dislocated, people are still looking for loved ones. We have one of the huge cases of missing persons in the region. So it means the entire fabric of family life would be destroyed. The rising number of internally displaced persons in the region, the fact that this is continuing over a long period of time means the major source of income and livelihood in that region, which is farming and agriculture, is affected because people are not planting, people are not harvesting. So there's a high propensity that we are going to be even more food insecure as a result of the conflict that is happening, and that the humanitarian crisis that Nigeria has been battling with the support of humanitarian agents and the United Nations, is going to get much worse before it gets better.
It's absolutely scary that you can say that entire places have been removed from a map because people have just been wiped out and nothing has been done or said about it. Your research looked at 7 states in northwest and north central Nigeria. Of the 7 that you looked at, the most impacted?
Most impacted is Kaduna, with nearly 400 deaths recorded so far that we could verify.
What is to be done, if not by authorities, by everyday Nigerians? Are they even aware of what is happening there?
Because the country is quite large, there tends to be a bit of distance with those away from the region. So we're raising publicity and campaigning and alerting people that if the north continues to be unstable and insecure, people will run to places of safety. We're already seeing some of that impact in the southwest and the southeast as people look for places where they could be safe. So the entire country can eventually find it very difficult to cope with the growing humanitarian situation on the ground. The second thing is about security. The security agents need adequate resources and training, but also to improve their tactics. Because one complaint that came out quite strongly was that when the security agents do arrive, and even in cases where they arrive on time, they have to retreat because the weapons and the ammunition that the bandits have is much superior to what they have. So we can't have a situation whereby all the focus has gone to the northeast and then you've left the northwest, the north central exposed, and potentially creating an avenue for criminal elements to take over these regions and make them really, really unsafe for people to live in.
Amnesty International Nigeria Director Osai Ojigho, thank you very much for your time.